I love eggplant and often make eggplant parmesan, but my brother-in-law's favorite is eggplant rollatini. So today, baby bro, this one's for you. Today I'm making his favorite and using my homemade marinara sauce. Stick around. Hey guys, so first to get started on our eggplant rollatini. So eggplant can tend to be very bitter. So here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna peel it. I love to peel my eggplant. You know, that skin can even add extra bitterness. So I tend to peel it. So take your vegetable peeler. We're gonna peel all the eggplant, trim the top, trim the bottom, and then I'm going to cut it into 1/2-inch slices lengthwise. We want long pieces because we obviously need to roll this. But to get that bitterness out, we're gonna salt it, put it on a wire baking rack, which you can see I have us prepped right here. So you wanna get this prepped and ready to go. We're gonna salt both sides pretty heavy. And then what that's gonna do is it's gonna sit for 15 minutes and pull out the moisture of the eggplant, which in turn pulls out that bitterness. So I'm gonna get my eggplant prepped, then we'll get started. So here is our scraps. Remember I mentioned earlier, so just the edges of that eggplant, they're a little rounded, so they would be quite difficult to roll for our rollatini. So here's just a little extra tip. Just dice them, saute them in a skillet with a little bit of garlic, and then let them cool. Then you can pop them in a food processor with some tahini and some lemon and some spices, and there is a delicious eggplant dip or baba ganoush. You can even just nix the tahini and make a delicious eggplant dip too. So don't get rid of that. Look how much is left over. It's great for a dip. So for our filling, our ricotta mixture filling. You want 1 egg, so you just want to scramble the egg first. Whole milk ricotta. If you're gonna do it, go for it. Whole milk. So creamy. Got 1/2 cup of whole milk mozzarella cheese, so shredded. You can buy the mozzarella that already comes shredded. It's a nice little helper. One less thing that you have to do. And then Parmigiano Reggiano. So freshly grated right into the bowl, little salt and pepper. Just a little bit, so you have natural flavoring of salt in there from the cheese. And then we're just gonna whisk this and set it aside as it is prepped and ready for when we get ready to roll our eggplant. So our eggplant has been sitting for about 15 minutes. So I want you to zone in here. Look how much moisture it pulls out. So see that? That is pulling out the moisture and the bitterness. So don't submerge it underwater to rinse it off. You just want to take a heavy duty paper towel and just wipe it clean. So I'm going to get these cleaned up, wiped nice and dry, and then I have some flour. So all-purpose flour. We're going to dust them in flour. That's going to create a little bit of a crust before we then saute the eggplant. So you want to season your flour, salt and pepper. Give it a little whisk, make sure it's all evenly combined. And now we're gonna dust our eggplant. So we're gonna work in batches. These are pretty long. It's hard to even find the right skillet for them to fit in, but 3 of them will fit in a 12-inch skillet just right. You want a good amount of oil. So we're basically pan frying this eggplant. So So about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. So here's what you're looking for. You want a light golden color, but more importantly, you want it to be pliable because we have to roll it. Okay, so here's what you're looking for. Beautiful, even browning. And then you want it to be pliable. So you don't want it to fall apart, but you definitely want it to be able to bend. Okay, looking good. Okay, so now our eggplant is out. It's cold. You could totally do this step a few hours ahead. You can even do it a day before. Keep it covered in the refrigerator. And here is my homemade marinara. So you're gonna need about 2 cups. So first, into your baking dish, you wanna first put about a cup of the marinara sauce onto the bottom. And now for our eggplant. So we're gonna take some of the ricotta mixture on one side, spread it out, and then we're gonna roll it up and then place it seam side down into our baking dish right on top of that marinara. All right, this looks delicious already, and we're not even finished. All right, last one into our baking dish. They all just kind of nestle in there. Perfect. I'm gonna wash my hands to finish our eggplant. So take the rest of that marinara and then just pour it right over top. So that way they just absorb all that delicious flavor. A little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano right over top. And now for the cheese. I'm not big on smothering anything in cheese, simply because it then overpowers and overwhelms the dish and you can't really taste the beauty of that dish. So a little bit of cheese goes a long way. You want to add just enough that it's flavorful and cheesy, but not so much where it just sort of defeats its own purpose and drowns the food. You never want to do that. So really, that is enough cheese. Into the oven at 375 degrees until it's hot and bubbly and marries all the flavors. This smells so good. All right, we're gonna plop it right here. Okay, so I thinly sliced some basil. So I'm gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes. That way, I mean, it is so hot, you can't eat it right now. Let it sit, let it rest, let it further cook and absorb into the eggplant, and then we're gonna garnish it with the basil. And then we are gonna eat it. Oh, I'm so excited. Look how delicious this looks. I hope my brother-in-law Nikos loves my version of this eggplant rollatini. So hot. It is so good. The ricotta is so creamy. The eggplant is cooked perfectly. It's absorbed all that delicious flavor from the freshness of the marinara and that nice touch of the basil right on top. For this recipe, head over to the newspaper's website. I'm Shereen with Cook This. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.